Hey changemakers, it is finally here. 2017, baby, a brand new year. I mean, how many of you feel me when I say it could be quite scary? People are so quick to jump to the positives, but everything starts at zero again. It's a new beginning if we choose it. I'm going to start this off by just saying I'm so immensely grateful for every one of you listening to this, watching this. You have no idea how it feels. I'm ecstatic that you've stuck around the last year and a half, patiently watching and listening to me piece together this movement. And in this episode, I'm going to give you 3 ideas to ponder as you decide for yourself what kind of year you want. Not just because I tell you you need to be doing it a certain way or crushing it in a certain way, but what kind of year are you going to choose for yourself? And the truth is, we all want breakout years, but there's only a few of us that have the tenacity and have prepped enough to go to that next level. There's only a few of us that can stomach the climb to the very top and step into our greatest glory. And this is not coming from ego, it's just my own truth. And I want every single one of you listening and watching this to be crushing life. I want your business to go to the next level. I want you to be so freaking present in your relationships that it scares everyone around you and it scares yourself. I want you to be in the best shape of your life. I want you to lead others just as you're watching me learn how to lead. When we have achieved our highest state, we are going in for impact and we are able to change not just the world, but everybody's worlds around us. And we can't do this if we're playing small. You would have not stumbled on this podcast or got referred here or noticed one of the guests on the show if you're looking to play small. The show is about legacy over currency. It's about moving forward. It's about being relentless. It's about playing to win and not to lose. As mentioned, I want to give you guys some big ideas to play with internally as you start your 2017. And I forgot who it was, but someone a lot smarter than me said that every year needs a theme. And I really like that idea. It's a lot better than having goals and systems in place. Of course, I'm not saying don't have those, then don't, have commitments, things, and put it in your calendar. Don't have those things that you shoot for. But when we're talking about a theme, I'm referring to a bigger vision for your year. Something that can keep you inspired and compelled to keep you going when inevitably those days come up. Those days when life punches you in the face. Those days when it hurts so bad, you just want to crawl away and maybe lay in bed all day. Those days where we rethink every single thing that we believe in. So I ask you, what is your theme of the year? That's the challenge of this episode. It's a powerful question, right? Well, you don't need to know your theme right this second, but just keep that in the back of your mind as you're listening to this episode. Here are some universal truths from my research, personal experience, and guests that have been on the show. We've been fortunate to have some of the world's best, from the Bob Proctors and Grant Cardones of the world, to Philip McKernan and Tucker Max and Alex Icon and Preston Alexi. It's just been phenomenal to watch it grow, and I'm so grateful that you've been with me every part of this journey. So without any further delays, let's dive into it. Number 1, you have to give up good for the great. And, to be honest, it's just something, all of these are things that I work on, but giving up good for great really resonates with me because it's what I had to do to even start this journey. I had a really good job. I had a really good lifestyle. I had a really good thing going on for me. Why would I ever want to give it up for the potential of something even greater? But sometimes, changemakers, in our lives, when we know the truth, when we already know too much and we can see it calling us, when we get the tap, we feel it and it taps us on the shoulder, we know it's just the truth, and we know everything we do, no matter how we rationalize it, we know it's just us delaying the truth and us denying the truth, repressing what is in us. And I started this journey without knowing anything that I do pretty much on a daily basis these days. I didn't know how to start a podcast. I didn't know how to build an email list. I'm still learning all these things. I don't know how to build a community. I didn't know how to upload a YouTube video. Don't let where you currently are dictate where you want to be. I love what Bryn Burchard says. Don't let your small business keep you small-minded, right? A lot of us have greatness in us. It's not just this like cliche thing that gets said, like, is there greatness in you, right? A lot of us feel a nudge to do something a lot bigger and greater than what we are currently seeing in our lives. And if we let the current results dictate where we need to be, we will never not only get there, but we can't get there because we won't be able to be those people that inspire other people to get there. And that's the ripple effect. That's the change in the world. It's not about changing the world. It's about changing somebody's world. That's what this whole podcast is about. Could care less how many people, tens of thousands or 100 people listening, or even 10 people listening. I'm going to change somebody's life. And maybe it's you, right? So you got to give up good for great. It's about sacrifice. What are you willing to sacrifice for the greater good of not just the world? Don't even make it like so dramatic, but the greater good of your truth. Think about that. Number 2, you got to pursue the possibilities. And you know, I've made a video about this. We've talked about this throughout the last year, and this is just something that keeps coming up. You know, and Evan Carmichael came on the show, and he really forced me to think about my one word. And I really think it's #possible. Possible. Living into possibilities, because so many of us grew up in scarcity. I know I did. My parents immigrated to Canada, you know, as immigrants, and a lot of people did. And they grew up with not a lot of financial wealth. And I grew up with not a lot of financial wealth. And that's fine. You don't necessarily need that. But if you're in the pursuit of that, if you're in the pursuit of financial freedom, of a greater life, of trying to crush it, there's going to be a lot of habits ingrained in us, right? A lot of us grew up with limiting beliefs. A lot of us grew up with people telling us we can't do things, being fearful of change and our own success. And we can't live the best year of our lives if we can't pursue the possibilities. And so I encourage you, and there's going to be so much content around this in the next year, but I encourage you to live in the possibilities. I mean, you guys have seen my journey. I could have never believed that my podcast, when I launched, was going to hit number 1 for self-help. I could have never believed that we were going to get nominated for a top 10 business award. I would have never believed if you told me that I have, you know, online courses where I help other entrepreneurs and other creators put a voice behind their business, put a voice behind their brand, and put a voice behind their story, help them launch top-rated podcasts. I would have never believed that people even watch the YouTube stuff and listen to the podcast. I would have never believed that I would have had a billboard at Yonge and Dundas Square, the equivalent of Times Square for us Canadian folks. And it's just been absolutely amazing. And every day I pursue the possibilities over the impossible, over the that can never be done. Who am I to deserve this? Over all the things that we ever tell ourselves in our lives. So I encourage you, I beg you, I hope that you pursue the possibilities this year. And last but not least, number 3, you got to let your why pull you. And this might seem overly simplistic, because I feel like in the last few years since Simon Sinek did his TED Talk, everyone goes, you gotta know your why. People buy your why. People buy your why, and they don't buy what you do and how you do it. They buy why you do it. But I guarantee you, right? Sean Stevenson said this. Bryn Burchard says this. A lot of people come on the show and they say the same thing. Common sense is not common practice. I'm going to say it again. Common sense is not common practice. And the thing is, it might seem like a really simple concept, but how many of us are implementing it? How many of us have asked ourselves and dug deep enough to let ourselves know why we do what we do? Why is it that you do what you do? Why is it that you go to this job? Why is it that you want to get the money? Why is it that you want to create this personal brand and launch this out to the world? What is the result? Why would people listen to your show? Why would people do anything for you? What makes you get out of bed? And when we know our why, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, it's going to start pulling you. And I'm just getting there right now, okay? I'm just getting there right now. You see me like put content out for the last like 2 years. I'm just getting there right now. I'm with you. I'm right there with you in the trenches. We're going to make this happen. I'm promising you. You have to let your why pull you rather than you push your message down people's throat. Why am I not getting the traction I want? It's because your why's not there. Why am I sleeping in, and why am I not, letting the things that are important? Why am I not doing the things that are important? Because your why is not there. This is not the episode for us to dive deep, but these are just some of the big ideas that I'm thinking about that I want you to start flirting with, to get to know. Number one, you got to give up good for great. Sacrifice, baby. What are you willing to give up? Because every time you say no to something, or every time you say yes to something, you're also saying no. So we got to create that space for our greatness to evolve. Number two, pursue the possibilities. If we find, what are the ways that we could do that? What are the possibilities that we could pursue rather than living in the limiting beliefs and the fear? And number three, let your why pull you. Have you taken the time to ask yourself, why is it that you do what you do? So my theme of the year, it's all about churning pro. And earlier this year, I asked you guys, what was your theme? And I naively wrote Changemaker movement on my website at the beginning of this whole journey without really giving too much definition of what it really means. If you've been listening to the interviews, you know I've asked every single world-class guest that's been on the same question. What comes to mind when you think of Changemaker? What is a Changemaker? And they've given some brilliant answers, and this is really not that episode where we're going to dive into it. But I'm letting you know, I'm putting you on notice, world. I'm putting anybody who's listening to this, the hundreds and thousands of people that have been listening to this, that have wrote in, that sent me a few Christmas cards. Thank you for that, by the way. And, that comment on the stuff. I see you guys. I see every single comment. Churning pro. It means that I'm switching my mind from amateur to pro. And of course, even though I've been in the internet marketing and podcasting business for some time now, it's time to churn pro. And so what's your theme this year? Who's churning pro with me? I want to know. Let me know, right? You got to let me know. Write in. This is my email, jay@thejaywong.com, or go to my website, www.theinnerchangemaker.com. I encourage you guys, however you're listening to this, watching this, subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast. No opt-ins required. Okay, go to the websites if you guys want some more information in terms of how to launch your podcast. You guys are going to see a lot more of that. If you want to do what I do, if you want to have a personal brand, if you want to get your message out there in a bigger way, I'd be so happy to support you on that journey. But they say it's lonely at the top. So who's turning pro with me? Who's going there? Right? I want to know who you are so I can keep my eye out for you, and I can know who you are when I see you at the top. Because that's what this year is all about. It's going to suck when life is going to punch us in the face, but when we know our why, when we're living in possibility, when we know what we sacrificed, and we know we're making space for greatness, man, I'm telling you, we can move mountains. I believe in you. I know you can do this. I got you. We got you. We're here. So with that, guys, this is Jay signing off. I hope you guys live with passion, live your dream, and live it now.